Wednesday morning in New York City, just before 7 a.m.
Oh, yeah.
Bustling. People are on their way to work, grabbing coffee.
Yeah.
Just another day.
Right.
But then, boom, everything changes. Brian Thompson,
The CEO of UnitedHealthcare.
assassinated. Right outside his hotel.
A case that has the entire city in its grip.
Right.
It really does have all the makings of a true crime thriller.
A powerful CEO, cryptic messages, a suspect who just vanishes.
But this isn't some TV show.
Right.
This is real. This is life. And the consequences, well, they're massive.
Yeah, and it gets even more unsettling when you start to look at the details. Thompson was actually based in Minnesota.
Oh, okay.
He was just in New York for a meeting with investors at the New York Hilton Midtown. He was walking from his hotel, and that's when he was attacked.
What gets me is how precise the attack was. It wasn't just some random act of violence,
Right.
The shooter, he waited for Thompson, targeted him from behind, and even when his gun seemed to malfunction,
He didn't even flinch.
he didn't hesitate.
That malfunctioning gun, that's the thing that just gets me.
Yeah.
The guy cleared that jam like it was nothing.
Yeah.
And then just kept firing. That's not something your average person can do.
Oh, absolutely not. Firearms experts, they've said that that level of proficiency, it suggests some serious training,
Wow.
like maybe military or law enforcement background.
And then there's that message left at the scene. Chilling.
Yeah.
Deny, depose, and defend.
Yeah.
Etched right onto the bullet casings. What do you think about that?
Well, it definitely adds another layer to this whole thing, right? It's already so complex, so disturbing.
Right.
Is it a warning? Is he trying to justify it? Maybe it's even a taunt. It's hard to say for sure, but I think it points to this being a planned hit. This wasn't something that just happened in the heat of the moment.
Not at all. And the escape was just audacious is really the only word for it. He disappeared into Central Park on a city bike. I mean, come on, it's like a movie or something.
It really shows you how much planning went into this. The route, the timing, how he got away, all of it. All of it carefully chosen to just vanish, in a city like New York.
So let's talk about the evidence. What do the investigators have to work with here?
Okay.
Well, there's the standard stuff, live rounds, shell casings, but they also found a Starbucks cup and a cell phone near the scene.
Ah.
If they can get DNA or fingerprints off of those, that could be huge.
Well, and thinking back to the surveillance footage, we see the suspect in a Starbucks right before the shooting.
Oh, wow.
That cup could be exactly what investigators need, a direct link.
Okay, so let's get down to it. Who would want Brian Thompson dead and why?
Well, we know from Paulette Thompson, that's his estranged wife, that he had been getting threats.
Oh, really?
She said that it might have something to do with denied insurance claims.
Yep.
And considering that UnitedHealthcare is the biggest health insurer in the country,
Right.
the number of people who might be holding a grudge, it's pretty big.
A company like that, they have the power to change people's lives.
Absolutely.
And that power, well, it can make enemies.
Yeah, you're not wrong about that. And we can't forget about the legal troubles surrounding Thompson.
Right.
Insider trading, fraud. The Department of Justice is looking into whether or not UnitedHealthcare is a monopoly.
Wow.
There was a lawsuit from a firefighter's pension fund. There are a lot of things here that could point to a motive.
Yeah. Robert D'Amico, he's a former FBI supervisor. He said he thinks this might be a personal vendetta against Thompson or against the company itself. It does seem like everyone's working under the assumption that this was planned.
Yeah. And it's important to remember, though, that these are just potential motives. The investigation's still going. Until they find the suspect, and until we uncover more evidence, we really can't say for sure why Thompson was killed.
But the NYPD is taking this very seriously. It's a huge manhunt. Drones, helicopters, canine units, they're using everything. This whole city is on edge.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's not just the city, though. I mean, this case has grabbed the whole country's attention, and for good reason. You have a victim who was incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
But also really controversial.
Uh-huh.
A suspect who disappeared into thin air.
Right.
And a trail of clues that just seems to lead to more questions.
Yeah, it feels like everyone's trying to put the pieces together, and the more we learn, the weirder it gets, the more unsettling.
Absolutely.
That message at the scene.
Oh, yeah.
That's what everyone's talking about.
Yeah.
Deny, depose, and defend. It's like, I don't know, it's like something out of a spy movie.
It's chilling. It really is.
What are some of the theories you've heard about what it means?
Oh, there are a lot of different opinions out there.
Yeah.
Some experts think it's like a coded message.
Okay.
Maybe meant for for a specific group. Within UnitedHealthcare or in the healthcare industry in general, others, they see it as a way to understand the killer, to understand why he did it, you know?
Could it be a warning, like to other people at UnitedHealthcare?
It's possible. And the words are interesting. Yeah, deny. That could go back to all those accusations about them denying claims.
Right.
Depose. Like, he wants to get rid of the people in charge.
Yeah.
Like, he wants to change the system completely and defend. Maybe that's for the people who feel like the company has wronged them.
So maybe he sees himself as some kind of vigilante.
Yeah.
Taking down this corrupt system.
Some people are definitely saying that.
Right.
Especially the people who don't like UnitedHealthcare and how they do business. But we have to remember, this is just speculation. We don't know for sure what that message means, not without more evidence.
Well, speaking of evidence, what about that Starbucks cup and that cell phone?
Yeah.
Have there been any updates on those?
The police aren't saying much.
Okay.
But they did say they're looking at them.
Right.
For DNA and fingerprints. That Starbucks cup could be the key to solving this whole thing.
Why is that?
Remember, we saw the suspect in that Starbucks.
Right before the shooting.
Yeah, just minutes before. It's very likely that that's his cup, the same one they found at the crime scene. And if it is, well, that's a direct link to the murder.
I mean, you would think someone who plans everything so carefully would be more careful than that.
Right.
It's almost like he wanted to be caught.
Yeah, there's definitely a theatrical element to this whole thing.
Oh, absolutely.
The message, the gun he chose, the escape route, it's all deliberate.
And so bold. I mean, to shoot a CEO in broad daylight in one of the busiest cities in the world and then just vanish. It's incredible.
It takes a certain kind of person to pull that off. You need confidence, arrogance even. This wasn't on the spur of the moment. It was planned, and it was brutal.
So where did the investigators go from here? What's next?
Right now, they're focusing on analyzing all the evidence, everything they've got. Surveillance footage, the bullet casings, the cup, the phone. They're also talking to anyone who might have seen something and following every lead.
Did they said anything about the phone?
Like who it belongs to?
Yeah.
No, not yet. But if they can get into it,
it could be a gold mine. You know? We could find out who he is, who he knows, where he was before the murder.
Like a digital footprint.
Exactly.
It could be the missing piece of the puzzle.
It could be. But of course, the main goal is to find the guy.
Right.
They've released pictures of him from that Starbucks. They're hoping someone recognizes him.
Seems like everyone's just waiting to hear anything.
Yeah.
So let's talk more about Brian Thompson.
Okay.
You said he was getting threats.
His wife, Paulette, she said he was. And she thinks it was because of those denied insurance claims. But we don't know the details.
I can understand why people would be angry. I mean, healthcare is so important.
Yeah.
But to kill someone over it.
It's a whole other level.
Yeah.
And we can't forget there might be other reasons, maybe even bigger reasons. This is a complicated guy.
Right.
And a complicated company.
Yeah, you're right. We can't forget about those allegations.
The insider trading, the fraud, the Justice Department, the lawsuit.
Oh, maybe one of those things led to his murder. Maybe someone felt like he had hurt them.
So we've got what, like 3 possibilities here?
Yeah.
An angry customer? A business rival?
Yeah.
Or someone involved in one of those lawsuits?
That's right. A lot of potential suspects.
Yeah. The police have a lot of work to do.
They do. They're going to have to carefully look at everything to figure out who killed Brian Thompson.
It's like a real-life clue.
Yeah.
Was it the patient in the waiting room angry about their denied claim? Or was it a CEO in a boardroom somewhere, greedy, wanting to get rid of the competition?
It's possible.
And then there's that guy on the bike.
Yeah.
Disappearing into the city. Leaving that message. Leaving everyone afraid.
It's like a classic mystery. But this is real, and it's way scarier than any story.
It's weird, right? It's like we're talking about 2 different people.
Yeah.
On the one hand, this super successful CEO, top of his game.
Leading a huge company.
But then there's all this other stuff. The insider trading.
Yeah.
The fraud.
The lawsuits.
It's hard to put those 2 things together.
It really shows you, though, that even powerful people, they're not above the law. What they do matters. Whether it's business or their personal life, it has consequences.
Right.
We don't know if Thompson was guilty of anything. That's for the courts to decide. But just the fact that people were accusing him of these things, it just adds another layer to this whole thing.
And speaking of complicated, let's talk more about the suspect.
Okay.
I mean, we talked about how good he was with that gun, clearing that jam like it was nothing. What else can we tell about this guy?
Well, he's methodical. Everything planned out, right down to the escape.
Yeah.
He's smart, organized, he thinks ahead. This wasn't some random act of violence. It was cold, it was calculated. And that city bike,
Yeah.
that was brilliant.
Right.
He just blended right in with all the other bikes, and then, poof, he's gone.
It's also he's messing with the police.
Yeah.
He leaves the cup, he leaves the phone. He goes on a road where he knows there are cameras. It's like he wants them to find him.
He might be trying to send a message, not just with those words on the casings,
Right.
but with the whole thing. Like
Right.
he's saying, you can't touch me. I can do whatever I want.
It's scary to think about. So where do we go from here? What's the takeaway?
Well, the investigation is still going.
Right.
The NYPD is working hard. They want to find this guy and bring him to justice.
But even if they catch him, will we ever really know why he did it?
Yeah.
I mean, was it revenge? Was it someone who felt like Thompson had wronged them? Was it a power struggle?
Maybe.
Maybe he was trying to make a statement against corporate greed? Or was it something else entirely, something we haven't even thought of?
That's what makes this case so interesting and so disturbing. There are so many questions. It really makes you think about the dark side of human nature.
Yeah.
How even in a place like New York, a place where there are so many people, violence can just erupt out of nowhere.
This case has changed the city. It reminds us that even in a place like New York, you're not safe. Danger can be anywhere.
It makes you wonder, as companies get bigger and more powerful, could we see more of this? More people who are angry, who are desperate, who are willing to go to extremes.
To fight back against the system.
No. It's something to think about. We'll keep following this story, and we'll let you know what happens. Until then, stay safe out there. And remember, sometimes the scariest crimes are the ones that happen closest to home.
Thanks for listening.